Hi there guys, my name's Matt, and chances are you've clicked on this video because you want to learn how to resolve your anxiety long term, or you know someone who is anxious or has panic disorder and want to help them to reduce their anxiety on a long-term basis. There are certain things that you use for resolving the anxiety in the moment and a short-term solution, but I want to talk specifically about long-term things you can do to help yourself. And I want to put a disclaimer out there that I'm not a medical professional. I don't professionally help people who have mental health issues, but I can talk from my own experience of having anxiety for 2 years now, starting off with very severe panic attacks, and now I have a much more normal, low stress level of life. I've never taken any medication for it. I've just learned these tools over a period of time through going through CBT therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, gone to my GP, and also just learning what works for me. And I think a lot of resolving these issues is about learning what might work for you and trying different things. So hopefully I can give you 5 tips a day. One of them might work for you. And tip number 1, I would say, is eat well, sleep well, and exercise. For a lot of things, if you go to the doctor, they'll say to you, make sure you're eating well, make sure you're sleeping well a good amount of time, and getting enough rest, and make sure you're doing regular exercise. And for that alone, I would say is the number 1 point for helping yourself feel better, is to do all of those 3 things, and you're going to start feeling better. I don't want to talk about every condition, but if there's quite a lot of things that you can resolve by just eating well, sleeping well, and doing some exercise, regular exercise. And so for me, one of the ways that I did it, I just started making sure that I was eating regular vegetables, chicken, protein, not too much sugar, a very varied diet, going to the gym regularly, signed up to the gym. Made me feel a lot better because I was doing something for myself, improving myself, making my health better, and also making sure I went to bed on time, because I usually wake up quite early for work in the mornings, so making sure I go to bed at the right time. And all of those things really helped to reduce the amount of stress that was on my body, because I already had stress in my body from anxiety, and it was releasing adrenaline. So what I don't want to do is then provoke that by giving it other reasons to be anxious, and things like not having enough sleep is a very big thing. If you get enough sleep, you're going to feel much better the next day. So that is a very real and good solution to reducing your anxiety long term. So make sure you do those 3 things: eat well, sleep well, exercise. And number 2, I would say, is a mindset thing. Question your negative thoughts. Always question your negative thoughts. Why am I thinking like this? This is irrational, is a very good one. If you feel anxious, and one of the things that made me feel anxious before was I was watching all those A&E. There's a few different things I've watched where people have different conditions. Like, for example, I was watching an A&E, 24 hours in A&E. We have a program in England where you're watching it, and people were taken to A&E, accident emergency in the hospital from the ambulance, and they arrived there, and then they're being treated for different things. And then I was watching that program with my family, for example, and I would see someone who has been taken to A&E with a brain tumour, or they've been taken to A&E with a heart attack, and I go, but I feel those things, but maybe that's wrong with me. And you start to associate your problems with other people's problems, but really they're not, and that gives you anxiety, making you think that something else is wrong with you. But if you know that you have an anxiety condition, they're actually irrational thoughts. But to back that up, point number 3 is to make sure you go to your GP to give yourself that peace of mind that you are actually okay, and the only thing that you're having difficulty with is actually a mental problem that you can resolve through having the right tools to do it. So like I said, questioning your negative thoughts, make sure that you don't go into a negative spiral of thoughts. So it's basically just questioning and thinking, oh, actually what I'm thinking is not real. I've thought that not through a logical process. What I'm thinking is illogical because I have a panic disorder, I have anxiety, and I accept that, and I know that I can resolve it through different means. and that will help get you through long term. When you realise that, you start getting yourself into a more automatic reaction that, oh no, it's not what I think it is, because I know I have this. It's like, oh no. And it's basically just a big fuck you to the, I don't want to swear on this one because I don't know who's watching it, but it's basically just a middle finger back to the thing that is you feel is trapping you. So so there's tip number 2. Tip number 3, like I mentioned, is to make sure you go to the GP, because sometimes you get, like I said before, those negative thought spirals about conditions that you think you might have, but you should also go to the GP to get that peace of mind that it is a panic disorder or anxiety, and they will give you the peace of mind that you don't have anything else wrong with you. So number 3, very important, make sure you go to your doctor to give you a full check over. Once they've done all those checks, you go, well, wait a minute, he's checked my blood, there's nothing wrong with my blood. She's checked my respiratory system, there's nothing wrong with my respiratory system. They've checked my heart rate, there's nothing wrong with my heart, so it must be something else. And that something else is the thing that they're telling me, which is I have anxiety disorder. And that, for me, has helped. I went through lots of different doctors. I saw 4 different doctors at my practice nearby. One checked my blood, another checked my blood a second time, and then another checked I got a booking in for an ECG to check my heart trace. That was fine. Checked my blood oxygen levels. That was fine. And a respiratory, what's it called? Well, they check how well you can breathe. That was all fine as well. Several different doctors. I did that specifically because I wanted to get different opinions, and every single one of them said that I had symptoms of anxiety and that there was nothing wrong with me. I was perfectly healthy. And so that gave me the peace of mind to be confident that I know what the problem is, and nothing else can tell me what's wrong with me. No one else can tell me what's wrong with me. Nothing that I see on television that might make me trigger a negative thought spiral in my head will make me feel bad about myself anymore, won't make me feel anxious. I've got something else wrong with me. So the symptoms that I get that are anxiety, I know now are actually anxiety and they're nothing else. So that's helped me out a lot. And I would suggest definitely going to see the GP, because they also can help you with finding the right tools to then resolve your problem, like, for example, cognitive behavioural therapy. They can recommend you on to a good cognitive behavioural therapy practitioner, or even a hypnosis practitioner, to help you with those things. I've already done a few cognitive behavioural therapy sessions, and then I felt that I had enough tools to then go on my own and continue dealing with the anxiety myself, and now I feel very, very much better for it. So there is a lot of hope at the end of the tunnel, and I wanted to still go through 2 more tips with you. For me, I noticed that I felt more anxious, this is tip number 4, when I was having caffeine or coffee or very high caffeine products. I noticed in the past, I once had a paracetamol tablet with caffeine in it, and that, before I even had my first panic attack, made me feel, now I think back at it, like I was having a panic attack and I was trying to run it off. So I was basically in a restaurant, I had a migraine. I thought, oh, I'll have a paracetamol, and luckily someone had it in their bag, but it had caffeine in it, and I had the paracetamol. About 30 minutes later, I'm just like absolutely, I've got like a kick of adrenaline inside me, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel really shit. I need to get outside. I need some fresh air. And so I went outside, jogged around for a bit, and came back inside. Eventually, I felt fine. But that was before. That was maybe like 4 years ago. No, maybe 3 years ago. And then after that, I had the panic attack for the first time, and then I started realizing that coffee was actually really affecting my life, like coffee and tea, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people have on a regular basis, coffee and tea, and they also have the stress of work, stress of relationship issues, stress of anything else in their life, and that can really exacerbate the problem. So I would say try and reduce your caffeine intake dramatically, and that will really help you out. And you'll then start to normalize without the caffeine, and you'll feel just as much energized as you normally do once you've weaned yourself off it. I don't have any caffeine other than a cup of tea a day or something like that, which is, caffeine in tea is like 4 times less than the caffeine that you get in a coffee. I think it's something like 40 milligrams of caffeine per cup of coffee, and then a cup of tea is something like 12 milligrams. But depending on how many shots of caffeine you have in your coffee, you can have much more. So coffee, Red Bull, very high. Chocolate sometimes can have quite a lot of caffeine in. So just avoid those products. And then the final tip is to make time for yourself to relax. So with a lot of people these days, it's very difficult to relax when there's so many different things to do, like, I don't know, checking Instagram, seeing what everyone else is doing in their lives. Work, everyone wants to work hard, succeed. There's a lot of it's very cool to be an entrepreneur now and work really hard, and it's good to work hard, it's good to be successful, but also those successful people they consciously take time out of their day to then make sure that they relax. And for me, I never felt like I wanted to relax. I find it very difficult to sit down and do nothing, and so I now make a conscious decision to sit and not do nothing, but find time to do something that's more relaxing. So for example, I went with my my girlfriend to a spa, and just spent half a day just chilling out at a spa, and it's not something I would ever normally do, but I've consciously made that decision to like give myself time to relax, and it felt amazing. After that, I think that actually at that time I had anxiety really bad. I was finding it very difficult to be in hot rooms. It's difficult for me to be in a warm room because I produce a lot of heat in my body. I've got a very fast metabolism. My body gives off a lot of heat, and so I feel stressed when I'm in a hot room for some reason. It's almost like I've got menopause. But you know, it's different for different people. People got different operating environments, and I just don't like being in a hot room. And so when I went to the spa, I felt very anxious getting into the hot water, but I relaxed into it, and after being there and finding my time to relax, I eased myself into the warm water, made myself feel comfortable because I knew I got a massage, got these treatments and stuff like that, and because I'd find that time to relax, for 2 weeks I didn't have anxiety. I promise you, I had no anxiety for 2 weeks, and that for me worked. So I knew that making time to relax was actually a really good thing. So even if I don't feel like I need to relax, I now say, oh, you know what, for the next 2 hours I'm just going to go sit down and watch a couple of videos on TV with my family, and just chill out. And I might think, oh, that's boring. Oh, I don't really want to watch TV. I never watch TV, but I know that I've taken time to do something that I don't usually do, which I always feel like I need to do something productive, but to do something to just like slob around for a bit, in my opinion, makes you feel that you've kind of chilled out unconsciously a bit as well, because you just need to give yourself a little bit of a break. And that's not to mean that you're weak and that you need a break, but it's just to give yourself, what you're actually doing is being more in control of your life. A lot of anxiety is about control, and to sit down and do nothing and to relax feels like it's not productive and you're not in control, but actually you're consciously making the decision to be in control by giving yourself the relaxation time. So that was a big thing for me, and there are lots of different tips that I can give that I've learned over a period of time, the last 2 years, but I've just given you now 5 tips that you can use to try and resolve your anxiety long term, to share with a partner, share with someone else that you love, and hopefully it's been helpful. If you've got any more questions or ideas, please do put them in the comments below and I will bring them up in another video. And if you found this video helpful, then please do share it with your friends and family. Maybe someone who you think that has anxiety and you want to help them out that doesn't realise that they've got it yet. I've got another video on how to resolve anxiety short term. Put a link in the description for that, so that you can get over your current, like if you're having a panic attack, things that you can do. And hopefully it's been helpful. If you stick a thumbs up for it just down below, then more people will be able to see this video on Google and YouTube, and then it will be shared with people, add that extra value to people's lives. And hopefully it's been helpful. I'm going to be releasing a lot more videos soon on anxiety and mental health issues in general, because I've experienced lots of different people in my lives have had mental health issues, and I've talked them through how to help themselves. And I think that it's worth keeping the conversation about mental health on the front line, because it's very important. So thanks lots for watching. Subscribe if you want to see the next videos, and I'll see you guys soon. Keep well.